6DOS, or 6 Degrees of Separation, is a networking activity to help individuals experience and understand the processes by which people send messages to those with whom they are indirectly connected via their direct contacts. This video tutorial will help you set up a session. To begin, visit the 6DOS website to create a user account if you don't have one already. Follow the necessary steps to log in. Type your first name, last name, email address, and password. Be sure to ensure your full first and last name, since this is how others will be able to route messages to you. Then, click Sign Up. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can log in using either your Facebook or Google account. Once you log into the system, select Administer. While setting up a session typically takes less than 3 minutes, you could set up the session as far in advance as you like. This might be worth considering if you are administering this activity for the first time, or if you expect participants who might not be as tech-savvy and need more time in advance to enroll in the activity. First, give your session a name. Then select Person as a mode where participants route messages to a specified participant who is indirectly connected to the activity. We suggest you ask your participants to respond to at least a couple of questions related to their demographics and expertise. Click on Questionnaire. The information might help them relay messages more effectively. On the right below, there are some sample questions that you can add. You may edit the question or the options and add or remove the options. You can also add your own questions directly under the Questionnaire tab by clicking Add Question. When you finish adding questions, click on Done. You have now completed the basic setup of the 6DOS session. If you want to save your current setup, click on Save Settings. By doing so, even if you leave the page, you can resume from the current setup when you come back to the page. Simply click on Load Saved Settings. Feel free to modify existing settings as well as click on More for additional settings. Select whether or not you would be using data from the exercise for research purposes. You also have the option to set the mode as well as the number of bots. Please watch our other videos to learn more about these features. Setup in advance enables you to set up network and relay specifications. If you already know what these specifications should be, you may set them up now. Otherwise, you may set them after the enrollment and network phases, respectively. Also, you can specify whether you allow participants to see the results at the end of the session. The default is showing the results, but if you want to change the default, select each box and click on Done. If you are setting up the session in advance, click Invite Participants. You will be taken to a dialog box where you can cut and paste their email addresses. Next, you will be shown a template of an email that will be sent to the participants that you can customize to specify the time and date in which the activity will occur. This will also send an email with the session key alongside the 6DOS link to join the session. When you're ready to launch your session for participants, select Launch. You will be taken to the enrollment page. On this page, you need to make sure that your participants join your session using a session key. Provide participants the session key you will be seeing on your screen to join the activity. If you set up a questionnaire, participants will be asked to answer those questions. Once participants enter the code and finish the questionnaire if applicable, their names will pop up on your enrollment list. Make sure that all of your participants are enrolled in the session before moving to the next page. The instructions for participants are shown here. Participants are seeing this screen while waiting for other participants to join. While participants are enrolling, click on Next, located on the bottom right of the page, to provide additional specifications for running the activity. you will see the network specification pop-up window. Here, you will set up the number of contacts that your participants can choose as their contacts from the enrolled participants. You can set up one or more contact categories. If you choose only one category, you can edit the term contacts below to specify a particular group. You can also specify a secondary category of contacts by clicking on More. For instance, you can specify primary and secondary contacts as friends and acquaintances, strong ties and weak ties, or work ties and social ties. Once all participants are enrolled in the session, hit Save. Participants will then be asked to select their contacts based on your setup. You can see the progress on your screen. While participants are networking, you can click on Next. That pops up a relay specification window. Here, you need to set up a few more specifications before you can start the activity. The session duration specifies how long you want to run the activity. It is set as 3 minutes by default. Feel free to change this as needed. The next specification is how often the system should send each participant a new message to be relayed to a final destination. It is set at 60 seconds by default. If you use the defaults, each participant will receive 3 messages in total from the system during the 3-minute activity. At the start of the activity, at the end of the first minute, and at the end of the second minute. Keep in mind that, in addition to these messages from the system, participants also receive messages from others who choose them as contacts. Finally, if you click on More, you will be taken to a set of options with defaults pre-specified. As you get more familiar with the activity, you might want to tweak these options to create variations in participants' experiences. Please watch our other videos to learn more about these options. After selecting their contacts, participants are shown slides with factoids about the concept of 6 degrees of separation while waiting for their fellow participants to select their contacts and for you to set up these options. Once all participants have chosen their contacts, you will be able to click on the button Select Degrees of Separation for Final Destination. You will be shown a table with the number of destinations available for each participant at different degrees of separation. Keep in mind that immediate contacts are at a distance of 1. We recommend setting a fixed distance as far as possible so that the difficulty level is the same for everyone. In case this is not possible, you may select a range on the slider. All participants will be assigned targets that are at distances within this range. Hit Start Relay to begin the activity. Once the activity starts, participants will receive messages from the system, as well as other participants who chose them as contacts. The main goal of this activity is for participants to get messages to their final destinations within the time limit. Participants should click on each message and then select one of their contacts who they think is more likely to get the message to the final destination. If you choose default options, participants will be able to access information about the route the message took before they received it and the trail of the message after they send it to one of their contacts. In addition, they will also be able to see the trail of messages for which they were the final destination. If you don't want participants to access this information, you can change the default options while setting up the relay specification. You can keep track of time while participants are relaying their messages. You can also add time, as well as stop the session whenever you like. Additionally, you might receive a notification from participants in the form of a raised hand icon. This indicates the participant needs help. Hover over the raised hand and click on the Mark as Seen button to notify the participant that you are aware of their need for help. After addressing the participant's problem, return to the raised hand to click Mark as Resolved. Once the session has timed out, you will be redirected to the Create a Session page. You can click on the View Results button to view the results of the session that just concluded. You could also click on the Rerun button to run another session with the same set of participants who will have the option of changing the contacts they chose in the previous session. Click on the Create New Session if you want participants to re-enroll, thereby allowing new participants to be added or existing participants to be removed. Finally, you can see how many participants responded to a poll. Asking them if they wanted to do this activity again and giving them an option to view the results. In addition, if you use the default options while setting up the activity, participants will also be able to view results. If you want to discuss the results of the session just concluded with the participants, click View Results. If you want to come back later to view the results of the session, click the third tab called Results on the top left of the web page. Clicking on the Session Overview tab will take you to the summary overview of the most recent session. Clicking on this icon on the right will collapse the summary overview of the most recent session and allow you to select any prior session you administered. Here you will find any activities you have administered, sorted by the name of your session and the time and date it was completed. If you use the default options in setting up the activity, participants who have engaged in multiple sessions will also be able to see the results in the same way. Once you click on a session in the Sessions Overview tab, you will find key statistics for your session. The next tab, Contact Network, shows a network visual of who chose who in the session. You can select a participant in the visual to highlight who they chose as well as who chose them. It's helpful to identify if some participants were more popular choices than others, for example. Also, you can change the layout of the visual to a circle by clicking on the circular option in the Layout tab. You can download the network data as a CSV form by clicking on the Download Network tab. The Relay Use Network tab depicts a network visual of who sent a message to who during the activity. Unlike the previous tab of Contact Network, this network shows the amount of connections and how many messages went from one participant to the other. This visual is helpful to find if participants use some of their contacts more often than others to relay messages. Clicking on the Messages Paths tab shows the path taken by each message as it went towards its final destination. The results shown on the message paths enables participants to see how effective or ineffective they were in using their contacts to relay messages. Finally, you can sort the message paths by the shortest distance it could have taken to the final destination, the actual distance it took, the time it took, and the status indicating if the message was completed and reached its final destination or was incomplete. Finally, clicking on Participant Metrics shows performance metrics for each participant. The first is network awareness. It's a metric measuring the participant's ability to effectively route messages. It's calculated based on the percentage of times the participant chose to send the message to the contact who was on the shortest path of the destination. These results enable participants to see who among them scored high on this metric, indicating a better awareness of the overall network among participants. The second performance metric is the number of relays. It's based on the count of how many times each participant routed messages during the activity. The results complement the network awareness metric. Someone might have a high network awareness score, but did not relay as many messages as someone with a low awareness score. In addition to network awareness and the number of relays, you can access additional individual statistics by clicking on the participant name. These are individual level network statistics such as centrality measures, which might be relevant if you want to use this activity to introduce network analytic concepts. Please watch our video explaining these additional aspects of the results section. Thanks for watching this tutorial. You can learn more about 6DOS here.